You
This
should
conference
say,
will now be
there you go.
recorded.
Okay,
Nice
Yeah,
job.
it's
Have a good
recording.
meeting.
so we'll start, she's always behind the scenes. We'll start the Bikeways Committee for March 21st, 2023. We'll have a call to order here. We have Andrew Dawkin, Charlie Walkley, Charlene Pilon, Alan Ferry, Paul Gazai, and myself, Francis Saluski. Didn't know my name. So I took care of items 1 and 2. New business, approval of the February meeting minutes. What do you have to say? Do we have any corrections or additions to the February meeting minutes?
I vote we approve it.
Okay.
I wasn't
Oh.
there, so
Paul, you wanted to talk about the mile markers?
Yep. Painting moment.
Can't hear you. Paul, you're muted.
Uh-oh. Oops. Oh.
Charlie, what did you do?
He's muted now.
Turn the volume up. Turn your volume up.
My volume up.
Okay, we hear you
Yeah,
now.
there you go.
You hearing me?
Now we.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
What did you want to say about the mile markers?
Just don't want to take it off the agenda. I mean, obviously, when I spoke to, or actually an email with Link, I think the last meeting when we discussed it, maybe 2-3 meetings ago, he would love to use, all he needs to do is get his hands on it, the same, what do you call it? The
Stencils.
the stencils, thank you. So that, we're consistent, that's all. And so we just don't want to let that go. And that's about, what I wanted to talk about at this point. I don't know.
I thought we were supposed to set up a meeting with Chatham sometime in April or May.
Yeah. And
Did you get the text from Eric? The town put down some new markings.
yes, I did. Oh, I didn't forward it back to the whole team. Did I reply back to the team, or was it just to me?
I don't know how, it was a text message. How can I forward a text message?
I think I got an email. But it basically, yeah, they put some yellow arrows. And if I got a second afterwards, I think it was an email that it was an email.
Okay.
Let me see
Eric
if I
sent
can.
me a text
I'll
message.
forward you guys. It basically, from Bo, yeah, it looks like Colony. It doesn't say where, but it looks like at Colony Road there, where they put a big SO stop, and with yellow markings, stay to the right and stay to the left arrows. I'll forward it to you guys, but I believe it's been probably 3 months since we've talked about, getting the same markings that Chatham has. What I can do is touch base with Chatham and see where they're at. I remember the last email I got was there was still a few guys. I don't know if they've been meeting regularly. There's a few guys that are still in Florida, like somebody else I know, and they wanted to wait till they were back to have a meeting. But I'll take the action to get this started again.
Alan, do
Are
you
the
know how
mile
I,
markers going to call? Oh, right.
Alan, do you know how I can forward a
Put my
text
hand
message?
up.
There's no easy way. Well, what type of phone do you have, Fran?
You know what?
Can
I'm
there-
gonna, I'll forward this to
Okay.
everyone.
Do you know how to take a screenshot on your iPhone, Fran?
Yeah,
If you take a screenshot on the iPhone, then you could send that photo to other people as a text message, or you could also attach it to your email.
Yeah, I can forward it
Fran,
okay.
to all of you because I got
Fran?
it as an email.
Yes, Charlene.
Oh, I just wanted to ask, am I right in assuming that the mile markers won't happen until the paving happens? Or is that different now?
I don't know.
The paving that's proposed.
I think that depends on whether or not the mile markers is an official job by DPW or an unofficial job by me.
We come from
Link,
deep.
Link was willing to do it. So might as well let DPW do their thing. That's
Yeah.
my take, you know?
In which case, didn't Link say that he was going to wait until after the repaving, which we don't know when that's going to be done? Because that could potentially kick that can down the road indefinitely.
And Eric would be able to probably answer that, right?
No,
Eric
No.
Levy?
Link would? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Eric has any say on the OCRT. He only has say on
Oh,
the
You're right.
UCRT.
Sorry. Yep. Um, Well, I can,
Brandon, the content of your text message that you wanted to forward, is it a photo or is it just text?
yeah,
A
it's a
message?
photo.
It's a photo. Okay. All
I'm
right, the
forwarding
other
it.
thing I
I'm
was
forwarding
that-
it to all you guys right now.
Oh, you have the same photo, Paul? Thank you.
Yeah, but I got it in an email. So what I'm doing here to the side here is making sure I get all you guys. Andrew, Alan, Charlene, Fran, Charlie. And it's gone.
Eric,
So, yeah, but it
Okay.
basically the stop sign and yellow arrows on the right side and yellow arrows on the left side.
You think that's at the 124?
Looks like it's at 124.
Okay.
See, I can't see. They didn't see. All they did was send me the picture.
Yeah, I know. That's all I can do.
I can't tell if it's 124. It
I
might-
think it's,
No, that's not 124. It's
Brooks Park, the
Yes.
crossing at, I can't think of the road.
Oak Street?
Old Colony?
This is looking west from the path at Oak Street.
Oak Street. That's Oak Street, yes. Thank you, Alan. So that's at Oak Street and that's nice.
It's only on one side of the road, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
like I said, there were no comments to this. It was just an email that Eric sent me, period, the picture.
Okay. You had on the agenda the status of engineering work at the 124. Did you talk to Link or what was that comment about? Paul?
For me, I thought we talked about it at the last meeting. I think Charlie was going to talk to Link. I'm not off the top of my head, I'm not sure, or future. I don't remember the action item, to be honest with you. I mean, I remember the discussion but it's something that we needed to get started sooner than later, especially for that next year.
I'm just drawing a blank. And I've lost the email I was following. So anyway, I'll just, where I think we need to start on that is to talk to Link. Okay.
Yeah.
Because his comment was it would take engineers from a higher level than what we would have here locally. In other
Okay.
words, I think he was talking about going to, would it be Cape Cod Commission?
Well,
Engineers would be able to look at that and decide what it would need. But I certainly can do that. I didn't know I was
well,
supposed to.
I don't know. I lost it, I guess, at the last meeting too. And
Yeah.
since I communicate with Link, I don't have a problem in talking with him about that either. So
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Do we have a town engineer now, Fran? Or do you know, do we have a new one?
No, what?
Not that I know.
That has been replaced, and I know that Link said he's already had people down to look at that crossing a year ago. And whomever he had to look at that, they needed to take it to a higher level.
Yeah. I believe it was Steve Tupper.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he's an engineer. Yeah.
So I think Paul, it just requires an email to him,
Okay.
and then we have a written text, and we can put it in our meetings next time.
Makes sense. I'll copy everyone at the same time. I'll do it.
Okay.
Hey, guys,
Okay,
just for the benefit of people that might be watching this recording, on the last topic, can one of you guys who's an administrator share your screen to show the photo that we were all talking about? Just to show people.
I don't know how to do it.
Paul, Fran, do you guys know how to share your screen?
Share
Sure.
this screen.
Pull up the photo, share the screen, just so it's in the recording for the meeting that we just discussed. Or if you want to just make me an administrator, I can, or whatever host, I can share it.
Yeah, I don't know how to.
I haven't seen the
Alright.
photo either.
Go for it, Alan.
Well, I can't share it because I'm
Okay.
not one of the
Oh.
hosts. Yeah.
And that's not sharing it.
Well, you know what? That's better than nothing. Thank you, Paul. That's good. It's really just a photo of a couple of arrows on each side of the bike path showing which lane, which
Yep.
direction you should be riding in which lane. Right at the Oak Street crossing. So.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Paul. That's I think I'd suggest having me added as a meeting host for the next meeting. I'm generally pretty
Okay.
comfortable hosting these things, or at least
We'll
using the
mention
feature.
that, Jamie. But I think, what's the date for the next meeting?
April,
Probably 19.
it would be the 18th, a Tuesday.
Oh, it's a Tuesday. All right.
18th.
We'll have to reschedule that.
Okay.
You're going to be in transit, Fran?
Yes.
And I'll be in transit to you, Fran. I'll be flying down to Florida the day after the Boston Marathon.
All right. So we'll have
Okay,
to
sure.
discuss, should we discuss when we're going to have the next meeting at this point or not?
Not,
Are you
I don't know when I'm going to be back.
okay?
Well, yeah, wait till you get some more information, and then we can just
Yeah.
send an email. Yeah.
Right. Okay, Charlene. The
All
floor
right.
is yours.
Did you all get the, did you get the email I sent out?
I
Yes.
did.
Yeah, great.
Did everybody get it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the notes from the meeting. And it actually, I thought was great. I mean, there's a lot of people at the webinar, like 200 people. And anyway, it explained it all in great detail. And there was the senator there explaining things as well. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. And I think that Mass Bike and all the other folks are trying to change the attitudes toward people that are on the roads, walking, riding, whatever they're doing. And it's just part of a grander plan, as you can see from the handout. The part that is very controversial is the enforcement of it, automated enforcement. And there's a lot of people that feel that their privacy would be, you know, to have cameras and all that kind of stuff. People are against it. But anyway, that's the part that's not done. But in any case, they want to get all the folks like our groups and others to get the word out, really. I mean, it was on the news, but how do we make it, you know, people aware in our community? And so at the end, there were some ideas that Mass Bike had, and also just things that we can do as a committee. And I know our focus is on the trail, but we do have people that ride on the road to get to the trail. I mean, the pedestrian part of it is not in our scope of, you know, of the committee, but in any case, I think the part about the lights and the 4-foot, you know, space for people who are riding does affect us. And so anyway, I just wrote a bunch, you know, there's 8 things there, and any other ideas that we might have as a group. And I think, does the Board of Selectmen even know that this law is in effect? Or, I mean, does Lincoln know? I don't know if Lincoln was at the meeting. I didn't scan the 200 people to find out if he was there, but there is going to be signage that the state will be providing with the DOT, and Mass Bike has got bike lights they're wanting to donate to people that are interested. You know, I see that this is a real nice thing for our committee to maybe do a few things that just to inform our community about the new law. So anyway, I don't know how you want to deal with it, but I think there's some actionable items here for us. And actually, the whole idea of reducing speed limits is another piece. And now towns and municipalities will have the ability to work with the DOT to make that happen if they wish. So there's a lot of good stuff. You know, I mean, obviously, when I heard about the law, I said, well, yeah, I mean, I was walking down a street where I live, and the cars don't give you 4 feet of space, you know. And so what do, you know? And I think all they're trying to do is make it known that, hey, did you know that this is a law now? And you can go over the double yellow line. It's okay as long as it's safe to do so, and so on. And so anyway, so I think that our committee could do something to make people aware. So that's it.
Guys,
Unless you have any questions. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a really good discussion and a lot of good questions. And you can go back and look at the whole webinar yourself if you wish to see it. You know, it's recorded now, so it's available.
Yeah,
So
a couple thoughts to share, may I?
yeah.
So I chatted with Galen briefly earlier today or yesterday. Senator Brownsberger, who was the other presenter, is actually a really good friend of mine. First, I'm going to share what they probably didn't discuss, but is a harsh reality of this bill. So this particular topic, I mean, you guys know that the lack of defining a cyclist as a pedestrian in a crosswalk is a hot button for me, right? I don't think
Right.
that there's a big secret about that's one of my hot buttons. And Senator Brownsberger had originally worked on legislation that redefined, you know, protected users in a crosswalk to include cyclists. And there was some separate legislation. Believe it or not, I'm not going to name names, but walking advocates in Boston had that pushed back on that hard because they were concerned that cyclists were going to start riding on sidewalks and interfering with pedestrians in crosswalks on,
Mhm.
regular sidewalk crosswalks, as opposed to what we're dealing with down here on the Cape, which is primarily crosswalks with the rail trail. So
Yep.
that got scrapped. This, as it relates to cyclists and protecting cyclists, this legislation is part of an omnibus bill, like a whole bunch of different topics that all
Yep.
all these other bills that got killed, and they all get bunched into this thing that Senator Brownsberger put through, and I'm very grateful that he got it put through. And there's two takeaways that I think we have here that we can help with. One is, as you guys may have noticed on some of my social media posts on this topic over the last year or two, I've been increasingly using the term vulnerable user, vulnerable road user. Cyclists are now, because of this law, defined as a vulnerable user, just like construction workers, first responders, things like that. That automatically gives us a seat at the table, so to speak, right? In this protected use conversation. The second thing is we have a responsibility as cyclists and as cycling advocates to remind cyclists that if they're riding their bike at night, they should have a front light and a rear light.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, bicycle lights are not cheap. So we can't just like set up a station and start handing out bike lights. There are initiatives. There have been several initiatives. I don't know if we've discussed them here in this committee or in Friends of the Cape Cod Rail Trail. Mass Bike has sponsored some things, and there are projects like that. But they're not cheap, and I don't think that we even have a budget to do that at the town level. We could potentially do it at the Friends of the Cape Cod Rail Trail level, along with industry sponsorship. So those are things that, all of us, if we're riding our bikes at night, or if we know people, to that extent, we should do it. And because the last thing we need to do is, start banging pounding our hands on the table that we need protection in crosswalks while we're out there riding our bikes at night without lights, and making ourselves less visible. So I think we as a committee can encourage the usage of bike lights for path users or any cyclist, frankly, at night, but especially as it relates to the bike paths here in Harwich. We can remind, to the extent that we can, in a non-confrontational manner, remind vehicular drivers that when they're passing a cyclist on the roadway, independent of the bike paths, they should be giving 4 feet. It's the law. 4 feet distance between the vehicle and the cyclist. And I'm continuing to work with the legislators to get that legislation rewritten and passed that inserts cyclists, bicyclists into the definition of protected users in the crosswalk. It's an uphill battle. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take 1.5 years to get it through, but I think the team that is working on it is going to get it done. It's just going to require a lot of collaboration across the state. So anyway, that took longer than I wanted it, but I wanted you guys to know the origins. And, there's a lot of good stuff here, but the unfortunate reality is that there was some pushback that got this very critical component of legislation, protecting cyclists in crosswalks stripped because of the knucklehead cyclists in Boston that, get to a stoplight, they don't want to wait. And then rather than risk getting a ticket, because there are some intersections where you will get a ticket in Boston if you blow a red light, they just ride over and they ride on the crosswalk. And then unfortunately, sometimes they're interfering with pedestrians, sometimes they're not, but they're certainly pissing people off. And that's obviously a completely different topic than what we're dealing with here on the Cape.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
All right, that's enough of me.
Charlene, did they mention if they were going to be publicized? It's what? It's law now, or is it April 1st?
April 1st.
April 1st.
That's what I thought.
April 1st.
So I assume they, I'll call it law offices, all municipalities will get some type of a warning, telling them that this is a new law that's coming in place? Did they mention anything about that? On how they were going to communicate to everyone?
That's a very good question, Paul. I think that I'm sure that the legislature, when they come up with new laws, of course, it was in the media. It was in the Boston Globe and others. But each and every department, or I don't know, every town, does every town even get a notice? That's a very good question. I don't know the answer to that, actually. I just thought, well, hey, we should make our town our board of selectmen aware that there is a law, and that we, would like to increase the, basically make people aware in our community, and starting with the board of selectmen, and maybe, Bass Bike has all kinds of great ideas of how to get the word out, in excise tax bills, or, we want to make people more aware. It's an educational bill, really. It truly is. It's not one of enforcement. So whatever you can do, whatever ideas you have, it's going to be in the new driver's manual. When folks get their license, it's all going to be there. But, so it's, I don't know. I just thought in our own town, we can make people aware too. So
I'll definitely make Link aware of it as I, send them a few emails. I can do that.
and so Lincoln, he's on different committees. I'm pretty sure, right, with the state DOT or whatever. I'm not
Yep.
sure what committees he attends, but the signage for this is there's going to be signage that's going to be put on the roadways throughout Harwich and other towns. So the coordination with the DOT and our DPW folks, and again, I don't know how aware Lincoln is of this new law, whether he was made aware through his committee meetings that he attends. I really don't know. So
I'll find out, and I'll copy all.
Yeah.
To ask the chief of police the same question.
exactly,
Is he
so
aware?
we have a safety committee in town, do we not? That the firefighters.
We have a traffic safety committee.
A traffic safety committee, yeah. So
Yes.
I don't know whether they had someone at this webinar that was taking in the information. I really don't know. But
I think not. And I just say that because I got a chance to meet with them last year. And their bent is a little bit different. They kind of look at what they can do to make things safer around town. So they look at things that have happened with an eye towards, is there something we could do to make the crossing better or whatnot? So that's the only reason I say that. But
absolutely.
as Paul mentioned, I think if we could see what Link might say about it, because I would think that he would have to be involved because of putting up
the signage.
And then
absolutely.
Get a feel from him. Maybe he communicates with the selectmen automatically on something like that. You know what I mean? And we could send a similar document, I guess, or sign on with whatever Link might be doing. So I mean, I hate to say it, but I think I'd listen to what his take would be on it.
Yeah.
Just like you said, Paul.
Yep. I'll do that and see where he's at with it and if he's even aware of it. And I'll take, if you don't mind, Charlene, maybe a few snips from your email that you sent us.
Oh, please. And the other part, as you see from the new law, is the DOT can work with towns and municipalities. If there's any roadways that need the speed reduced, they must work with those towns to make that happen. And that's in the law now. So again, I don't know if the safety committee that we currently have in the town, if they even know about it, number one. If there's anything that our committees intersect somehow, don't they? I mean, really, we're all involved with road safety or some way or another. So anyway.
That's a good idea. You know, when I read your email, on a separate note, kind of, on occasion, I see a guy riding his bike on 6A, usually in the
Yep.
Ennis Yarmouth area. And have you seen him? He's got a big stick that's somehow attached to his bike. And it's like, and I forget what he has at the end of this stick, but you don't want to get close to it. And it's basically what the new law is trying to say, stay away from me, because there's no room on 6A to ride your bike. And I've seen him multiple
Right.
times. And it made
That's
me laugh.
interesting. And actually, the gentleman, what's his name, Galen Mook, who is the executive director, he was talking about, they have this give us 4 feet. And so they attach a noodle to the bike, you know, 4-foot piece of noodle. And they organize community rides so that people can see what 4 feet is. So, I mean, these are just ideas that he had, but it's just, again, educating the public. Oh, wow, you know, and the idea of I don't know if you've experienced, I'm sure you all have, if you're on the roads just around Harwich, some people will take a wider berth and cross over the yellow line, you know, to go around you. And other people, I guess, feel that I am never going to cross the yellow line to go around you. And so, you know, now they are allowed to do it. I mean, as long as it's safe to do so, but yeah. So I'm wondering if we should make contact with the safety committee, and I'd be happy to do that, to say, hey, are you aware of this new law?
Yeah.
I think they
who's
would
the
appreciate
chairman?
it, Charlie. I think they would,
Yeah,
it would be a good thing to do, and just send it as a, hey, this
Yeah.
is a heads up, we thought you'd be interested.
does anybody know who the chairman is?
I
Or just-
think it's
yeah.
Chris Nickerson.
I can find it.
I can look that up.
Is it on the website?
be selectman, Fran.
Yeah, it would be on the website.
Okay.
Okay, I'll check it out. I could do it. I don't mind at all. I just think is whoever is involved with, I mean, obviously Lincoln, them, us. I don't know if there's others, but just generally educating people, and honestly, the Board of Selectmen should know too. Maybe some of them heard it on the news, but they may not know any of the details. So, do I have your permission to send it also to them,
Of course.
to the
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen? I'd be happy to do it.
Charlene, I might
Uh,
just to send it to the Traffic Safety Committee first. The
Okay.
lady chairman of that was a prior selectman. She just, I don't know,
Okay.
she's very knowledgeable about things that are going on around town and whatnot. She would know a good
Yeah.
way to do that, shall we say.
DA designated.
Do we
it does-
ourselves as a committee try to get bike lights? Because Mass Bike has a program, and I don't know how many bike lights they would be able to get, but is that something that we, there's also stickers that they have available. Again, awareness, creating awareness.
I have a thought on that,
contact
Charlene.
back.
I got one of their lights and it wasn't bright enough. Okay, so to me,
Yeah.
I was very happy to get it and all of that, but it really wasn't bright enough. It wouldn't.
I agree.
It wouldn't be safer. So
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think we need to do that.
Okay.
Something to consider is that there are cyclists that are going to ride their bike at night with or without a light. And we as a committee can, I think we as a committee now have a responsibility to, at the very least, educate those cyclists that it's now the law that they should have a light on the front of, a white light on the front of the bike, a red light on the back of their bike, especially if they're riding on the roadways. So the Friends of the Cape Cod Rail Trail more than likely will be doing some similar program as it relates to the rail trails. Obviously, we have, let's say, jurisdiction on the Old Colony Rail Trail. I think cyclists with lights, cyclists riding at night without lights is much less of a problem on a rail trail than it is on a roadway. So I think, like, there's a budget there, they're available. We should, as a committee, apply to Mass Bike for these lights. And then sometime in the month of May, which is Bike Month, we should consider some type of awareness pilot program. I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong terminology, but something that actually reaches those cyclists that are riding their bikes after sunset, especially on the roadways. The J1s probably won't be here by then unless we wait until the last week. And personally, I would be 100% on board with doing something like this, but I would prefer to wait until the J1s are here, right? Because they're the ones that are more than likely riding their bikes on the street, and they're also the ones that
Great.
not know how to find a bike shop, let alone can they afford to pay for a light. So if we're gonna get free lights, even if they're not great, a red light doesn't need to be great in order to save a life. It just needs to blink. So I'll volunteer to sort of take the lead on applying for the lights and trying to come up with a date when we feel like the J1 population or the people that are riding their bikes on the roadways in Harwich, which frankly isn't that many, but I'd say as a percentage, the J1s probably represent a very large percentage of those people. And let's try to get, lights on their bikes, if possible, free. So I'll take the lead on that.
To that, and honestly, to the word out, we have the Friends of the Rail Trail, and there's a lot of bike stores that are sponsored.
Charlene, your
are they
connection is bad, and we can't really hear you. Is anyone else having trouble hearing Charlene?
Yeah, I can't. She's
Yeah.
breaking up.
Yeah, we're not really making out what you're saying. Sorry.
Hi, great.
Worse.
Yeah, why not? I'd suggest turning your microphone off and back on, and let's move on to the next topic.
No better.
I hear you.
No,
Why don't you go over to Paul's house?
unless you can leave the meeting and come back in, if that didn't work, if your microphone didn't work. Because we're not hearing you now, or one or two words on occasion.
I know, technology.
Charlene, can you mute your microphone, please? There's feedback coming through. It's
Yeah, a lot of. That's
thank
better.
you. Much better. Much better. Thank you. All right, what's the next order of business?
Charlene wanted to discuss or identify our focus for the bike committee's focus for 2023.
Why don't we table that item until Charlene can speak, or for the next meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wearing headphones. Is that any better, or can you hear me?
Much
Yeah.
better.
Much better.
Okay. So I'll just finish my comments by saying that I attended the Friends of the Rail Trail meeting, was it last week? And there's a lot of bike shops that are sponsoring, sponsors for the maps and what have you. Bike stores, I don't know if they're aware of the new law. I would hope so, but I don't know so. And certainly, Fran, any of those sponsors should be aware that lights are required and the 4-foot law and all of that stuff. So that's
I'm sure it
another
has to
avenue.
come to them, yeah. Seeing that Mass Bike just put out the word last week, I doubt that the bike shops have heard about it, especially around here.
Exactly. Right. So being that they're being contacted to extend their sponsorship, I know I'm calling 2 of them. I'm waiting for Catherine to give me the contact information, but in any case, they're all being contacted to if they're interested in continuing their sponsorship. And that would be a golden opportunity to tell them about the lights And maybe some of them will offer discounts. I don't know, stuff like that. So for lights.
What two are you calling on? I can send you the contact information.
I'm, hang on, I have it right here. Capistrano, hang on. Yeah, the Little Capistrano in Eastham, in Wellfleet, the bike shop. Little Capistrano?
Yep.
Yep.
I thought you said there was two.
Yeah, there's one in Eastham and one in Wellfleet.
Oh, okay. They're both owned by the same people, so.
Correct. Thanks.
I know. You want to talk about the focus for our committee in 223?
Well, I just thinking about what it is that we're trying to accomplish. We've done a lot of the infrastructure stuff. Obviously, we've gotten all but one of our lights, I believe, and the fixing stations, the hydration stations, and all of that stuff. And obviously, some of the things from what we just talked about. I just was curious where our committee is going with any goals that we might have for 2023.
Keep grinding. Keep pedaling.
Yeah. I think safety is a huge goal. Number one, what you were just talking about earlier, maybe, one of the big goals would be to, promoting the safety, when Alan gets a little more information, or we get maybe some stickers, or any way to promote what's the new law that's happening, will be great. And I think it should stay on the agenda for a while.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I think that it made sense. After I attended the meeting, I realized, wow, there's a lot of stuff here that, we can do and try to do to make this happen. So I think you're right. Beyond that, we have any other infrastructure things that we're trying to, the light that was getting approved at the town meeting. Is there any other infrastructure things that we're trying to do?
Yeah,
Well-
repaving the trail
Yeah,
and the mile markers
right.
that we have to check with Wink on. Both subjects we need to talk to Wink on.
Right.
And I would add that we're going to begin to focus on that 124 crossing as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll begin that process. And I think we're continually trying to be out on the trail as a group and trying to give feedback to DPW, which all ties into safety, as Paul had mentioned.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, no, I think we've got a lot now. It's starting to flesh out for sure.
So,
Oh, I would also ask Link if he's planning on marking the trail like that picture showed in any other intersections.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can, get to him or Bolt.
guys, I'm coming up on my 3-year anniversary of living here in Harwich. And
Hey,
for the last several months, I've been running on the rail trail almost every single day. And I'd say probably easily north of 300 days per year, I'm either riding or running on the rail trail. I live less than a mile from the crossing at 124. And frankly, I'm disgusted that it's now almost 3 years I've lived here and there's there's still no crosswalk signal there. I'm embarrassed as a resident of this town that this town keeps responding back, you know, we need engineering this, we need design that. It's just excuses. It's ridiculous. And I'm reaching the point where I'm going to start to become a vocal critic of the town's infrastructure, whether it's the DPW or the engineering department or something, which isn't going to be a great, you know, that's not a great look for the committee. And I'm trying to like sort of balance my anger about this versus
Yeah.
my dedication to being a productive member of this committee. So I'm starting to think, you know, how can we push back on them constantly kicking this can down the road with suggestions for like interim solutions? Like what about rumble strips or more visible painting, reflective painting? Like it's the busiest intersection in our town, literally the busiest intersection in our town as it relates to the rail trail. And there's nothing except for white lines. It's ridiculous. It's, you know, and like probably 50 to 75% of the time I take my kids on a bike ride, I go through that intersection.
Right.
And sometimes we're coming back and it's after sunset. And it doesn't matter how many lights I have on my bike, blinking red, white, whatever. Half the time, cars are just, if it's dark, they blow right through there, whether they see me or not. It's just not a priority for a majority of the people that are going through there. So we have to do something about that intersection because it is the most dangerous intersection as it relates to bikes and vehicles in Harwich. And
Oh, can you take that to Link and ask Link if there's something we could do in the interim while we're waiting to go ahead on the lights? Like Alan mentioned, rumble strips or reflective painting. Some other.
Yep, definitely. I'll be busy tomorrow sending a few emails.
I agree,
thank you,
Alan.
Paul.
It's good. It's good that we're on good terms.
Yeah,
And I want to keep it that way, but I
Yeah.
also
Yeah,
I
or
wanna
we
start-
get
I'm
or
gonna
we get
start
nothing
rocking.
done, you know.
So, because I don't know if you guys remember, but literally the very first time I sat with Fran and Paul, and I forgot, I think Charlie may have been in the meeting. I met with you guys at the community center.
Yep,
It was
Just
I remember that. Yep, just
and
during
I
COVID.
said, how is there not a signal at 124? And like, here we are several years later and there's still no signal. And I really want to change that. If there's not going to be a signal, there has to be something else there.
Right. I think a signal's going to take a long time, but maybe there's something we can do in the interim. Like you had a couple of good suggestions with the reflective paint and rumble strips.
Yep. Even the reflective paint could take, I mean, that's the quickest and easiest thing. I like that idea. Something.
And, you know, frankly, look, I don't understand roadway design. I don't profess to be an expert on that, but like, why can't we have yellow flashing lights that maybe don't actually, you know, imply that you have to stop or force a stop, but at least draw attention to the fact.
I agree. That's a lovely, great idea. Flashing lights.
Oh.
And actually, I've seen flashing lights right in the center of a roadway, literally, so that people are slowing down too, and in addition to seeing the flashing light. Yeah.
Yep. Or
Yeah.
what Dennis did is put, you know, the brown barrels, the reflective barrels, and in Dennis, they've got them right across the bikeways in the street.
Yep.
And so you got to go around them. You know, they can't be that. I knew I mentioned that to Link in the past, but I guess they become targets. But the barrels, they can't be that expensive, you know. And I know the ones in Dennis, I see them often, and they seem to always be in place. So I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe I can mention that to him also.
Good
I
idea.
guess they must be called what, like construction barrels or something like that. I don't know.
They're called
See if
now.
if he wants to do anything, call it whatever, right? But, you know, yeah, especially during the summertime, let's say, you know, wintertime, I get it. Plowing, not around here lately, but, you know, all the plows and stuff, but at least 9 months out of the year.
Well, that's all I had on the agenda. Anything else?
No, and Fran, you'll get back to us when you have a better idea, when we're actually gonna have the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Who's reaching out to the Traffic Safety Committee? Was that you, Charlene, or was that you, Paul?
I'm gonna do that. Am I just doing the Traffic Safety Committee, or am I adding the Board of Selectmen as well? With the
You can do
information?
both.
I have your permission? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'll
So
do both,
Charlene, when
yeah.
you reach out to the Traffic Safety Committee, can you ask them if they're involved in, you know, if that crossing at 124 is within the scope of their purview? Because
Yeah.
it's traffic safety, it's pedestrian safety, it's bicyclist safety.
You know,
It's
when you said
point.
that, I thought that. I thought, geez, the Traffic Committee, I mean, they don't want accidents between, you know, cars and bicycles, so.
Yeah, it's less than a half mile from the school. Every day at 3 o'clock, I see kids going through there.
I will do that. I will do that.
Thank you.
All right.
Good to see you again, Andrew. Will we see you again?
Hey, let me turn that on. Thanks. Good to see everybody. Yeah, sorry I was incommunicado for a while. I actually had another leg surgery and some other stuff happen, which actually my surgeries are what brought me to cycling in the first place for more higher impact sports. Cycling has been a great boon for, you know, recovery. Then you're not, there's no impact. Anyways, yeah, good to see everyone. I mean, obviously, you know, I understand what we were talking about today for the most part. Anything else important that anyone thinks I should sort of be made aware of?
No.
No.
We covered a lot today.
Yeah.
Right.
All because of Charlene.
Sorry. I was really excited after attending that meeting. I thought, wow, at least we're moving in some direction of, you know. But yeah, I hear your frustration, Alan, you know, like it's not a perfect law. There's, you know, still a lot of work to be done. I mean, they're even talking about the e-bike legislation. It's not done yet. So there's all this stuff like, so, you know, it's the way it goes. At least you get something done.
Fran, you
How
got
long?
to get back. You missed a ride today.
No, I didn't. I had one.
Oh, did you?
So can I
Oh,
just add,
nice.
we were in
Sunshine
New,
at 65 degrees, Charlie.
do you mind if I add? Yeah. I just want you to know that I think we're all wimpy here because when we were in New Zealand, they call easy rides. They're not easy at all. I mean, we're talking super hills and that's the easy ride. I go, oh boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was fun. On gravel roads too.
Oof.
Hey, guys, I'm sorry. I have a hard stop at 6 o'clock, so I'm going to have to jet
Yep.
in about 90
I
seconds.
think we're good.
In April.
Good to see you,
Yeah, we're
Alan.
all set.
Have a good night.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Fran.
Bye.
Okay.
Take
Good night.
care.
All right,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye
Bye-bye.
all.